Hello, welcome back to our channel once again, myself and Bettina.
That's me.
Alright, so we want to talk about the challenges we face with our long time relationship.
Yeah, there was a lot.
So, let me talk first. You want to talk?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, you go ahead.
So,
Okay.
with our long-term relationship, all the challenges we faced, where do I start? First off, it's long distance. Why wouldn't there be challenges?
Yeah.
Not being able to see each other, that was hard for me, especially because all the time growing up, our culture, tells us that we should be pursued, and you do that by, the guy coming asking you out, you guys
Bringing
go out
flowers,
together,
bringing cards,
gifts,
taking
and
her out,
having
go eat
time.
out.
Yeah, that was, it was hard to supplement something for that.
And now we are two persons across the ocean.
Yeah. And then the time difference also.
Oh yeah. You remember the time that you'll be working and after you come back from work, I'm probably sleeping and you wanted to talk?
Yeah, it was all messed
Oh
up.
my God.
Like, it felt like you just, had to go without sleep to talk.
Oh yeah, it's a little big sacrifice.
And then, like, to actually, meet in person, one of us had to travel.
Yeah.
Who traveled, babe?
I actually planned, I think then you were in Nicaragua then, and I kind of planned to travel to Nicaragua to see that it doesn't really work out. It's also like a long route from Nigeria you have to, and we eventually just had to let's just hold it on. I think before then we were still like more of the friendship, and it was very intense friendship that we are really, connected to one another at that point in time. And then I think what also kept us through is patience. We were a little bit, sometimes we were not, because we were just like, when is it gonna happen? How are we gonna see? How are you gonna see me? How are we gonna meet and all that? But one of the challenges that I face is, you have to call, and all the calls you have to do is on video calls. So you have to exhaust your money getting the data. It's not like in the US that, per month, like you have to pay as you go. Though it might not be, huge sum of money in US dollar, but it's expensive if you have to keep on recharging your phone to make a call, and then it has to be a video call. We hardly do audio calls sometimes.
I get so upset sometimes you would run out of data. And
Yeah,
it was
you'd be like, why would you have to run out of data?
And it
But
was
like,
kind of like,
this is
you can't
Nigeria.
You can't keep minutes and stuff on your phone so we can talk. I mean, I think I'm worth that. At least.
And I'm like,
I'm not high maintenance at all. Am I?
just trying. You are. You are, but I'm happy about that anyway. But
Good.
Well, I have no choice.
Just wait. There's more coming now since you said that.
Well, anyways, that is one of the, I would squeeze myself to okay, let me save. Sometimes I even buy some data on my modem or my internet, and I'm like, it will just get exhausted within 2-3 hours or 4 hours of video calls. And then also sometimes I'm probably getting out of work and she's probably sleeping. She won't sleep, or she will just sleep and wake up in the middle of the night and want to talk to me, and I'm somehow exhausted after work, like I just want to go home and rest, and that is the best time for her to talk at that time. But for me, that is not really the best time, and then vice versa like that. Sometimes I have to, keep calls when I'm at work with my earpiece, just to make sure that at least in that day we were able to communicate and talk. I remember at my workplace, people know me on my phone and say, oh, he's talking to his girlfriend. And people will be wondering, like, what kind of girlfriend that doesn't have a job or that's not working, and people will be like, oh, his girlfriend is not in Nigeria and all that. And I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to squeeze in and, sacrifice. It has really not been so easy, with long distance relationship. it takes a lot of
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
But isn't that the real like deal of love? Sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean that is it's worth it. Whatever you can, whatever is good.
I'm really surprised we made it. When you look at all the challenges.
You remember the first time you came to Nigeria?
Yeah.
This was on a mission trip in Code, and that was like, I just want to be able to see you.
It was a twofold mission.
Yeah, to do mission and also to be able to see my family.
Yeah, I wanted to see how you were in your environment.
Who is this guy that So we opened that window,
Yeah.
and that was a whole lot of experience.
Yeah, and I stayed with your family.
Yeah, then I have
Dad.
not really tell my family at all. Like, I've not really tell my family at all. Like, we have not really been very connected per se.
We didn't fully commit, like say we were boyfriend or girlfriend.
But we were just more
before
like
we met.
yeah.
And I said I wouldn't until I met your family.
Yeah, and that is one important thing to do if you're even treading that road. I think it's more.
You need to see the person in their environment,
Than to
how
just
they are.
fall in love without seeing the person, see the person. I remember then, because initially she was coming for missions, we have set up, visiting to this orphanage and different programs that we want to do. And my father went to the airport. He went along with all the board of the church.
Yeah, it was like the whole deacons were all there
So
waiting
very
for
funny.
me.
Like they came there.
It was
And-
like hot and sweaty.
And I
and
saw you at the
tired.
airport and I just give you a hug, and my dad said, "No, you don't do that." And I just like literally
so nervous. I was
forgot
like,
oh, we are
Oh
friends.
God, he's gonna hug me.
And I didn't know that, we are friend in quotes per se, and my dad is, this strict holiness, he doesn't, and they call me and say, "You don't do that." I'm like, "Okay, I'm sorry, he's been my friend," and despite the fact, you don't do like, he gave me some fatherly, but all the same, she was very nervous the first time she came to Nigeria. It was a whole lot of different experience. I remember then people were screaming and shouting at the airport, and she was already sweating.
Yeah, I mean, you were hearing all the tribes of Nigeria there at the airport very loudly.
Oh yeah.
But it was a good first experience.
I think that first
mission
experience
trip.
was more than just a visit, because it's like she just came to my family, the church, people received her as a friend. It's not like, oh, that is Emmanuel's girl. No.
And I was able to, I think it was better for people to see me as me, who I was without you.
Right.
Before we were committed in a relationship, because we weren't
Yeah.
until then. Like, if I had seen something in you I didn't like, one of the values that I hold dear that you didn't really exhibit,
Same thing
I
goes to you.
would have just
Right.
left and said, "Hey, I had a good mission trip, got a lot done, experienced a lot, and went on with my life." And
Yeah.
because I wasn't desperate.
So it was really, for me, I feel like it's a lesson to learn about how to go with the long distance relationship.
Yeah, it stinks.
That's
I
what
wouldn't do
help.
it unless you absolutely.
No. I
thought
wouldn't
it was
even
worth
encourage it. Exactly, that's the word. Like, we talk almost every day. Like,
Yeah, and if he
every
hadn't
day,
have, I would have not been connected with
every
him.
day.
And
And that's the loneliest.
I think it's harder for a man than it is a woman to talk.
Yeah, sometimes I'll be on the call and I'll slip off. Like,
Yeah, and I'm like,
I'll be so
"Are you
tired,
still
and
there?"
and she'll be very mad at me, like, "How will you sleep when I'm talking?" Like, although I'm like, just help me, like, I can't just help it. I'm so tired. And sometimes in church, after the service on Sunday, I want to see some young people and everything, but that would be the best time for her to talk.
Yeah, it was.
So
it was
after the
challenging.
service, I have to call. She has to call, and people will be looking. Where's like I wouldn't really have time to mingle with people, and it's a lot of sacrifice, especially if you are committed to something. You have to really, because if you don't communicate, there's no way the relationship will grow, and then communication is one of the big keys. And I feel like it's help us to be stronger. within ourselves. Like I love her with all my heart. She loves me. We trust ourselves. We really have respect for each other. Sometimes even if you are together physically, sometimes you might not really enjoy that the value of being apart and sacrificing yourself, whatever you're doing to,
Yeah, now that we're together, we really, I think, value it more
right
because of feeling and knowing how it was to have that distance. And then when it came to getting and waiting for the embassy of the US to grant the visa, which was like a 9 to 12 months process.
more like a year or so.
And there's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah,
You have to have a sponsor, which had to be me.
No, that would be another episode entirely.
Yeah,
if you want to know the process of
there was a lot. Anyways,
the
like
filing.
waiting for that, not knowing if you would even in the end.
that is
be
one of
granted,
the
the
one of
visa
the
to come.
T junction that either you go left or you go right
that
because it's so
That was always like looming over our head.
oh yeah, and sometimes as we were cutting while distant, I think you visit
And I
Nigeria
think the
too, right?
comments of people too, like, it was
Like, it's
kind
not
of
gonna
hard
work,
to
yeah.
open up to people and
Right.
say I was in a relationship after we had met and everything.
And that is
It was hard to open up to people and say that I was, in a relationship.
right.
And I had got counsel from one pastor before I went to Nigeria, and he was the one that advised me to go on a mission trip and see how you interacted and
think
how
that
people
was-
were around you, because you can tell a person by who they hang with,
That was
who's their
helpful-
close friends
helpful
and things like
advice.
that. And
Because you need that kind of encouragement at that point where you don't know what people are gonna say, but you have in your heart a strong conviction about the decision you're making. Even a lot of people I never even tell them because sometimes
Yeah.
I'm very
people said I was
coordinated.
probably getting catfished and all this, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, I've actually met him, but yeah,
I wanted to
okay,
like,
whatever you
who's the
say.
cat?
Oh, and the
Who's the
best one
fish?
was you don't know if he comes from like demonic lineage or something like that.
That's
Like they do
that's so crazy.
voodoo or something like
And
that.
I feel like people that are talking sometimes they have good intention,
Yeah,
It's
it's like they say things out of
Yeah, but
here for
sometimes
you, I
they
guess.
can throw you out of God's plan with their own, very kind way of trying to protect you.
And they're not wrong. Like some of the things that they did say wasn't like way out there. Some things was like, it's going to be hard to mingle the two cultures, and his family being over there, yours being over here. Now that we have a little baby, it's hard because they haven't seen her yet on his side. So those are hard sacrifices. Him coming here was a hard sacrifice. People didn't really understand him at first when he got here, and he was having
People
to
still
talk.
don't understand me tonight, isn't it?
Oh, it's better. It's improving. At least it's
I
English.
bet when you went, people from the US come to Nigeria sometimes be like, I didn't hear a thing of what the person is saying.
Yeah.
And I feel the same thing here too. Like I would say something, be like, sometimes people would just be like, okay, but trust me, they don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. They don't even have a clue of whatever you're talking about. But
And intercultural marriages are hard. I mean, you have marriage already within your culture at 50-50, 50% divorce rate, 50% make it and stay together long term. And adding intercultural marriage into that also, that was another thing. Someone advised me not to get married because they're like, I don't know anybody who has made it in an intercultural marriage. And I actually, the nerd in me, started looking up all these articles and studies on the university library website and trying to understand intercultural marriages and the trends. And I would advise anybody to do that. Do your research, ask questions about people who you see are in an intercultural relationship.
yeah, I am.
People who are doing long distance relationships or have done. Don't be afraid to ask. And
I think your internal counseling section is very also important than people's opinion, because people would say their own opinion based on what they see, but that doesn't make it absolute. that doesn't make
Right.
it
You have to be able to
absolutely right.
filter and decipher for yourself.
Yes, that especially when you
There'll
are
be a
really
lot of
working
voices.
on God's plan for your life. You just have to rest assured, and that's one of the things that really kept me at that point in time, because voices here, voices there, but I have internal peace and internal rest about what God is saying about me, and I'm to the point that God, your will be done, and and I
It was settled then.
yeah, and
Like
she also
whatever
had the
happened.
same. You were also at that point also like, God, your will be done. It's
But
not
I
like
had faith. I already when it came to that interview date, you had that interview date. I was
when I had
like,
to pray somewhere and then.
you went to pray and I went
Because
to go buy my wedding
I
dress.
hold on to some things because I want to be sure that this will happen, because number one is
I was all about action.
I can't actually he can't come to Nigeria to get married. That was a no for my father. My father was like, no. And the reason is because we have to get married at the wife's family, and a parent could
And
not
my
even
family
fly
needed
them.
to meet you.
Yeah, and they can't even come. So it's a no, and the no, and and it's just very funny. And the acceptance also was not there at that time.
Family,
Yeah. So it takes a long time, and then it's understandable, and all that, because someone you don't know, you've trained this beautiful girl all her life, and one guy just want to come and take her away from you.
Yeah, and being the only girl didn't make it any easier for you.
Exactly, and the only
Granddaughter.
granddaughter.
On one side, anyways.
Anyway, so our experience is something that I think we can, share with people.
Even through all the obstacles and the difficulties and the naysayers, but they did so with good intentions. You have to know where you're going and know the price you're going to have to pay, because I feel like we do have to pay more prices, if you will, or have to not struggle really, but have to work harder.
Yeah, because
marriages work, but I feel like it is a little bit harder when it's somebody from another culture or another country coming into yours, because you're starting from zero.
Yeah.
Not even just the culture, but you're starting
and
from
it's good.
zero.
To me, I would just say it's one of the best.
It's a challenge.
You get two culture mixed together. It's wonderful. That's my own opinion. I feel like it's really, really, really worth the sacrifice.
If you love diversity, I love
I love diversity.
The diversity. And
I just wonder how it's gonna be when we get to heaven. Like, oh goodness, it's not gonna be one country here, one country. This is one culture. We are just one kingdom together. So we had a wonderful experience. Let me just say that. And those sacrifice, those hard time make us more stronger.
And appreciate us.
And appreciate more. I feel like sometimes if you don't really have that in relationship, you won't really appreciate one another, better. So this has really, give us more. I feel like more edge, when it comes to the maturity that you have to hold on to. When your spouse travel to a place for few weeks, and you're like, it takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of understanding. It takes a lot of sacrifice as well, and then So I think we're able to give you some few details about that. You want to say something before?
I would say the other thing is you have to have that mutual spiritual connection.
We pray together. I
think that's one thing that holds marriages in general, but also the difficulties of an intercultural marriage, is that you have that level standard ground of spirituality, and that you have like-mindedness and how you see things spiritually. I think that's a big thing, because when the soul is in conflict, your emotions are in conflict, it's that spirit that will keep you together, to stay through thick or thin, and to keep you guys still unified and connected. I think that is what's helping us and has helped us through
I think that was
difficult
even the
times of
first thing
marriage.
that we prioritize.
Right, that's probably what brought us together
In
in the
any
beginning.
relationship at all, if you are not equally yoked with one vision, one common belief, and all that, there will be a problem. It's not
Yeah.
even about if you come from another culture or anything. It would, but once that is in line, it would always help whatever other differences like the culture. This is that, and those for me, the culture is not, as long as you can able to communicate together. You know, communication is not that.
Understanding.
Oh, I use one language. That's not what I use. Communication is like, do you understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean. And then I feel like myself and Bettina, she could understand me far better even before my English in the US started to really blend. She could just get, oh, this is what you're saying, and at the same time, I could really understand this is what you're talking about. It's far more than how you place the word, or how you. It's all about you kind of know in depth what this person is trying to communicate. You know what I mean?
What they're about.
What about, yes, like with the good intention. So I feel like and the spiritual part, sometimes we call together, we share the word of God, and because that was what brought us together, make us to be, it's the word of God. We were doing Bible study together, and that was like, wow, this is a very good member. I better church member, Bible study member. Anyway, so it really helps. It really helps. The spiritual part, sometimes we're frustrated about the long time, and we just be like, let's just pray. And I think it has been a kind of solid foundation for us going forward, not just to be covered with the, take me out. We don't do that, but we do that more when we are physically together. Oh, you have to do this, and people forget about the spiritual part. You know what I mean?
Oh, like if you're in the same country, in the same geographic location.
You won't really think about that. That's just
and
a fact.
You're so much together physically that you forget about the spiritual side. Is that what you're saying?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Because it's
Oh, she understands me.
distracting. Yeah.
All right. So till next time, we give you the process of how we do the process of the visa thing and everything, just to know that I didn't just come here as an illegal.
He is legal, guys. No worries. Don't call
I wouldn't even
immigration.
come as an illegal. I just stay in my country. I'm so blessed there. So we have to do things as a child of God. Anyways, God bless you. Thank you for watching this video.
Later.
I love you. Bye bye.